path back to the family of the Thus Come One author. Grace Series 15. On the second day, we went to relieve animal lives by the river, which was not far from our abode. Then we encountered a monk, who was followed by his 2 disciples and some laity. They were also to relieve animal lives. Reverend Yu had a deep understanding of the Buddha's sutra and practiced accordingly. Therefore, based on the teachings, she led us to process the activity of relieving animal lives, which has and sought to benefit living beings in an authentic way. We came here out of respecting the ritual, which would be held by a monk or nun. At that time, we just let the animals hear the Buddha name Jeweled Supreme Thus Come One recollected by us, and let the light of the 6-fold Vajra mantra on our rings and verses from Kasyapa Thus Come One to radiate them. During this activity, Rev Yu's cheeks became red under the midday sunshine. Meanwhile, the monk by us seemed to be in mediation in a competition with Reverend Yu. I was concerned that Reverend Yu would get heat stroke because of the hot weather in Vietnam, so I prepared an umbrella and a fan for her. After a long meditation in the comparison with the monk stood up and ended up the activity eventually. After the ritual of relieving animal lives, that monk came to chat with us in the help of my interpreting. Although they talked in different languages, Reverend Yu impressed the monk deeply by her modesty and respect. In that case, that monk invited us to attend the Amitabha memorial ceremony in his monastery, and we realized that he was the abbot of his monastery. On the following day, we went to attend that ceremony with a gift. When arriving there, we shadowed Reverend Yu to communicate with others. That monk led us to bow to the Buddha images in the hall, to look around the surroundings, and then to a reception room. We put on our Sangha robes to bow to the monk. After chatting for a while, the monk was pleased by Reverend Yu's respect. It seemed that Reverend Yu's every detail attracted his attention. At that time, several monks visited by this abbot had come to the reception room as well. After bowing to them, we stood to one side. I still remembered when meeting the monks in the reception room, they showed their serious facial expression. After asking about the relationship between Reverend Yu and we responded with palms pressed together, keeping our heads down and standing on one side, daring not to sit down until they're asking to. They smiled and communicated with us in a mild voice. I thought to myself, if we did not come with Reverend Yu, when communicating with them, we only pressed our palms together at the most. It would be impossible for us to continuously stand up and continuously sit down, which would trouble us too much. We did not, nor would like to behave in that way when socializing with such kind of monks in our daily life. Through Reverend Yu's manifestation, we got to know how to show our respect. From inner world to our outer behaviors, and which could be called as respect. Then in the assembly gathering, we had chanted for about 3 hours. Sitting shoulder by shoulder, I saw that Reverend Yu was still sitting unmoving. I thought to myself, after such a long time, are her feet numb? While for me, I just kept on moving for a bit longer time, and then I could not endure it and began to move. I really admired Reverend Yu from the bottom of my heart. After that ceremony, the abbot came to chat with us without stop during the supper time. Reverend Yu and we stood up, with our palms pressed together, and kept listening attentively. After seeing that we just stood up instead of sitting down, the abbot turned to leave. After seeing him off, we just sat down. We sat at the table with other nuns. After for a little while, the abbot came to talk to us again. Reverend Yu stood up and pressed palms together when noticing his coming. We stood up as well, while the other nuns kept sitting without other greetings, even ignoring the abbot's presence. After several words, the abbot left and then we sat down. Then the abbot came again to talk with us. When seeing that we were having our supper, he asked us to sit down and need not stand up. Although we sat, we still lowered our head, put our palms together and listened to him without taking food. While for the other nuns, they still kept taking food, ignoring the abbot's presence. The abbot was delighted because of our detailed respect. After supper, we continued with the ceremony of lighting lamps. The abbot praised Reverend Yu highly when delivering the speech with other invited monks. He advocated the assembly to learn from Reverend Yu and shadowed her to cultivate due to her top standard behaviors. Reverend Yu's modest, respectful and joyful mind, smiling face, soft words and elegant behaviors, etc. pleased the people who had seen her. Until now, I just realize what is respect or reverence. To be continued.